everyone. My name is Suzette, and I'm so excited today to be moderating this talk at Google with the cast of the hit Broadway musical and Juliet. Yeah, we have such a wonderful group of cast and creatives here with us today. So a little bit about Juliet. Juliet is the hilarious new musical that flips the script on the greatest love story ever told, asking the question, what would happen? What would happen next if Juliet didn't end it all over Romeo? Perhaps she'd get whisked away on a fabulous journey as she ditches her famous ending for a fresh beginning and a second chance at life and love her way. Juliet's new story bursts into life through a playlist of pop anthems as iconic as her name, including Since You've Been Gone, Roar, Baby One More Time, and Larger Than Life, to name a few. And all of the songs are actually from the legendary songwriter-producer Max Martin, who, in case you didn't realize, Max is the genius behind more #1 hits than any other artist this century. So, let's break free of the balcony scene and get into this romantic comedy that proves there's a life after Romeo, because the only thing tragic would be missing it. All right, so for everyone in the audience, we will have time for Q&A, live questions towards the end, so I'll give you a heads up when it's time for that. And really exciting, to kick off, the cast will be performing 2 songs for us. So first up, we're in for a treat with a song that was actually the only original song that Max Martin wrote specifically for Juliet. And this one is called One More Try. So please welcome to the stage Lorna Courtney as Juliet and Ben Jackson Walker as Romeo, performing One More Try.
Have you ever felt out of place, like something knocked you off your wave? You try to lift your head up to show 'em what you're made of. I used to always feel too afraid to take that extra step, make a change, but now I gotta stand up and show 'em what I'm made of. Ooh, we all were born to break the rules. I know I got a lot of hill to climb, but on this story night I'm feeling new. Oh, anything goes. This is the moment I've waited for. Won't hold it back, no, not anymore. I'm starting over with tears in my eyes. All that I'm asking is one more try.
Sick of being told who I am, been put into a box, no, not again. It's time for me to step out and show 'em what I'm all about. 'Cause we all were born to break the rules. I know I got a lot of hill to climb, but on this story night, I'm feeling new. Oh, anything goes. This is the moment I've waited for. Won't hold it back, no, not anymore. I'm starting over with tears in my eyes. All that I'm asking is one more try. I've made mistakes and I've let you down. Been young and stupid, see it now. I'm starting over with tears in my eyes. All that I'm asking is one more try. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so amazing. So now please welcome to the stage Justin David Sullivan, who will be performing a song that you all know very well called I'm Not a Girl, Not Yet a Woman. Welcome.
Hi. I used to think I had the answers to everything, but now I know life doesn't always go my way. It feels like I'm caught in the middle. That's when I realize I'm not a girl, not yet a woman. All I need is time, a moment that is mine, while I'm in between. I'm not a girl, there is no need to protect me. It's time that I learn to face up to this on my own. I've seen so much more than you know now, so don't tell me to shut my eyes. I'm not a girl, not yet a woman. All I need is time, a moment that is mine, while I'm in between. I'm not a girl, but if you look at me closely, you will see it in my eyes. This girl will always find her way. I'm not a girl, don't tell me what to believe. I'm just trying to find the woman in me. All I need is time, a moment that is mine, while I'm in between. I'm not a girl, ooh, not yet a woman. Thank you.
All right, so please help me welcome to the stage the cast and creative team of Juliet. All right. Hi. Awesome, awesome. Well, first off, we're so grateful to have you all here with us today. And just so you all know, the level of talent right here, unparalleled. So thank you so much. So let's kick off with a quick round of intros. So just give us, your name, the character you play, or the role that you play in creating the show Juliet. So how about Let's start with you, Lorna.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lorna Courtney, and I play Juliet.
Hi, I'm Bill Sherman. I'm the music supervisor. I'm also the worst dressed person on the stage. And I didn't get a memo. Moving on.
Aww.
Hello, everybody. My name is Melanie. I'm so sad. My name is Melanie LaBarry, and I play Angelique, or the nurse.
All right.
Hi there, I'm Betsy Wolfe, and I play Anne Hathaway. Not that one.
Hey everybody, my name's Jen Weber. I'm the choreographer of the show.
A little bit of this. Hi, everyone. My name is Justin David Sullivan. I forgot for a second. My pronouns are he, she, and they, and I play Juliet's best friend, May.
Woo.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ben Jackson Walker, and I play Romeo.
All right. Okay, so first off, I would love to know more about how this show came together. So the songs are really at the core of this clever reimagining of this post-Romeo story. So question for you, Bill. Can you shed some light on the creative process? Can you tell us a bit about how the idea came about and how you became involved?
Sure. Our book writer, David West Reed, you may know him from the show Schitt's Creek. If you haven't seen Schitt's Creek, go watch Schitt's Creek. He and I share an agent. The agent said, do you want to make a musical? First he said, do you know who Max Martin is? And I was like, I've been writing songs for like 25 years. I know who Max Martin is. He's like, cool, do you want to work on his musical? I was like, sure, why not? And so we met with Max, and he gave us sort of carte blanche to his whole catalog, which if you don't know is every song you love from the past 25 years, literally, like not without, hesitation. And he sort of said, the most important thing about this is the story. The songs are great, whatever. And so David sort of, weave this web of Romeo and Juliet throughout these songs somehow, and magically does it. And every night, I feel like we go, you guys don't get this. I go to the theater and watch these people do that thing, and the surprise that one gets when the song fits in a way that you wouldn't expect, or how well we pull off this sort of magic trick of Romeo and Juliet and pop songs at the same time is by far the best part. But your question was, what is the creative process? For me, it was like, get out of the way, right? So it's like, here's the best 25 songs of the past 25 years, like, don't screw it up, move out of the way, let the songs do the thing. And I was like, all right, cool, even I can do that. And here we are. And that's pretty good. Yeah, how about that?
Amazing, that's perfect. And actually, quick follow-up. So in creating that magic, what came first? Was it the song selection, or was it the story that drove the placement of the songs?
I think it's an interesting question. The chicken, the egg. I think that like the song sort of existed, and I think that he like backed himself into the song. So like we all knew that certain song. Has everybody seen the show? I don't want to like totally kill. All right. So like when you have a song like It's Gonna Be May, and then you name the character May, and you sort of back into that amazingness. So sometime in Act 2, it's like holy cow, right? Or like, I don't know, I mean, that happens all throughout the show constantly. And so I feel like his genius is in figuring out how to do that.
And if I can also answer, David
can.
West Reed looked at the songs and said, oh, well, a lot of these songs are all about love and romance, and what's the greatest love story that ever existed? Romeo and Juliet. And here we are.
That's way more artful.
Yes, perfectly said. So there's also such seamless storytelling with the music, the lyrics, and the dance. So the choreography, Jennifer, questions for you. This seems like no easy task to be doing the choreography for a show of this energy, this caliber. How did you approach planning for this show? How did you plan the choreography, and what's your process like?
I mean, for me, it's always driven by story and character, so that's sort of like the starting place. And it's quite a luxury to have this music, because this is music that everybody wants to dance to. So it was just so fun to figure out how to imagine these songs in a new way to allow them to help tell the story that we wanted to tell.
Amazing. And a lot of the moves from my very non-professional, no experience dancing impression seem to be inspired by hip hop, by street dance. What was your inspiration for that?
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of my background. So I think I wanted to like fuse hip hop vocabulary, pop vocabulary, and theater vocabulary all together to like bring these worlds together on stage. And it's, you see that in the design of the show, you see that in the execution of the show. It's people from different worlds coming together to share the stage and to tell one story. And I think that's something that's so fun to watch, like everyone coming together from these different worlds, these different movement languages, and seeing actually how beautifully they go together.
Love it. Beautiful. All right, let's get to know these characters for a moment, roughly in the order of appearance. So I'm going to start with you, Betsy. At the start of the show, we're introduced to your character, Anne Hathaway, not that one, who has some thoughts when her husband starts talking about his new work, Romeo and Juliet. Can you set the stage for everyone a bit and just tell us more about Anne and how this story starts?
Sure. It's one of the things when I first read the script, I was like, okay, Romeo and Juliet, what are they going to do with this? How can we make this new? And one of the things that I was so drawn to was within the first 3 minutes of the show, we have William Shakespeare, who has presented his latest, what is now known as a masterpiece, Romeo and Juliet, to his players to present them the show. And unexpectedly, his wife comes in, and we know nothing about, really his wife much in real life. And it's one of the things that I think is so powerful about this show is it gives so many characters that normally don't have a voice. And so we see Anne Hathaway come in, and she's like, I'm just here, sweetie. You do your thing. I'm just going to watch. I'm so proud of you. I'm here with a glass of wine, and like, you do you. And then that lasts for 5 seconds. And from that moment on, we know that we're going to take unexpected turns at every step of the way, and that people who don't normally have voices are going to have voices and are going to have stories, and they're going to be fleshed out. And we completely flip the script on what you think is going to happen. And so I get to be a huge part of that and help puppet master alongside William Shakespeare to give not only Juliet a chance at love, but a second ending and this idea that it's never too late to change the trajectory of your life. It's never too late to make your life better. It's never too late to make a different choice. And so not only for other characters, but for herself. And that's one of the valuable lessons. And then it's done in such a funny way too. I was like, how is this possible all in one script? And yet it is. So
Amazing.
That's my character.
I love it. And it's really like you get that pen in your hand and it's mirroring the real life effects of art, right? Like you're getting that and it's transforming the whole storyline. So your character breaks the fourth wall. And I felt like from that first moment that the audience meets Anne, you've hooked us. We're all along for the ride. And how important is the audience engagement when you're performing?
Certainly, I think there's certain characters, obviously, that break the fourth wall in the show. And if you've seen it, you understand that. There's not much from Juliet, obviously, but there's this idea of we're writing this together. And it's not, William against Anne, but it's how can we make our lives better? How can we help the other person who we love so much see the potential of what could be there? How can we change the narrative? And so the audience, this is a wild ride. I've been in a decent amount of Broadway shows now, and I can honestly say the audience, participation is not even necessarily it's like the joy of them being there and how excited they are to also be present is what I can immediately sense from the show. They're like, oh, that's where we're going with this? Cool, I'm there. Let's go. And so that's thrilling every night to see people up on their feet by the end that maybe, were Debbie the Doubters at the beginning, like, a jukebox musical, I don't know. And then they're dragged there by, whoever. And then by the end, they're like crying and we see them come 9 times again. It's one of the most joyous things about the show is everyone gets roped in.
You got us all. So we meet Lorna. We meet your character shortly thereafter.
Yes.
Can you tell us about Juliet?
So you meet me at a time where I am mourning over the death of my beloved. And but as we know, Anne Hathaway now has the quill, has Shakespeare's quill, and gets to rewrite my ending. So I get a second chance at life and decide to take matters into my own hands and say, you know what? Maybe there's more than, maybe all of life isn't just about this guy. Maybe I can hang out, go on an adventure with my bestie. And there are other things that happen, and maybe have a new love interest. Maybe, I don't know, you should see. Yes. But what I think is also beautiful is that my character is a reflection of Anne's character. Don't we look so much alike? And what she's going through in her relationship with William, she's trying to teach me to take control of my own destiny and my own life, and that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to, everyone falls down. It's not how you fall down, how you get back up again. So by the end of the show, another thing that I forgot to mention, Juliet starts at an age of 13, and Anne says, no, let's not do that. She's in her 20s. So I grow up in the show, and I become a woman. And it's great, and it mirrors my own life and me growing up and finding my voice every night. It's actually happening on stage, and we're actually having so much fun.
I love it. Amazing. So one thing that is very true to the original story is the disapproval from Juliet's parents and this fractured relationship. But in direct contrast to that, we meet your character, Melanie, who's Juliet's nurse. Tell us about Angelique.
Angelique, I think she's probably the only character in the musical that is very much like the character in Shakespeare's play, in that she facilitates Juliet's adventures, very much like she does in Romeo and Juliet. She does have a name, Angelique, which is actually a name taken from Romeo and Juliet. It kind of always passes by. It's in Act 3, Scene 3, and Lady Capulet calls for sweet Angelica to make preparations for Paris. Yeah, I know. And sweet Angelica, because we're going to Paris, becomes Angelique, because it turns out that Angelique has had her own adventures in Paris once before. And that's, I think, yes, I know, she didn't just become an old lady to look after you. She was young once. So that was the shift for little Nursey. She is there to be an adjunct to Juliet's dreams, but she also gets to experience her own dreams, which is a very nice thing, because especially in the jukebox musical form, a lot of things are made for young people. When you think of love and you think of romance, it's made with young people in mind. And the nice thing about being the old lady in the company and getting to experience my own love story is that it matters to the parents who come. It really does matter. They find their own little excitement. And then also to then have that kind of, I suppose not maternal, because you find that in Anne, but grandmotherly relationship with you at the end. It's something for the mums and dads, that they're able to just see a little bit of themselves on stage, not just as standalone characters, but having excitement, having fun, falling out of beds. If you know, you know.
I like how you're giving enough for everybody. Enough
if you know, you know. But yeah, to just see like an older lady have a little bit of fun and excitement, that's one of the nice things that this musical has given us.
It's amazing. And the energy and warmth and charm that you bring to this role is wonderful. I loved this character. And I understand you originated the role, actually.
I did.
Is that true?
Yes, so I've been involved, not as long as you, but certainly involved with the show since 2017, since its first workshop in the UK. Which is where the musical was made first. And so I've now done the show in 4 different cities. We started the show in Manchester, we took the show to London, then I came here, joined these amazing people, and we took the show to Toronto, and then I made my Broadway debut. Coming close to 50 years old. So you see, as Betsy says, sometimes it's never too late to make a change. It's never too late to make a change.
Absolutely, love it. All right, and so another character that we meet, that Anne introduces us to, is Juliet's bestie, May. So played by the wonderful Justin David Sullivan.
Thank you.
Tell us about May.
Yeah, so like we said, May is Juliet's best friend, and May is a character that is written and introduced by Anne Hathaway and is one of many new characters that are added to the story, just to spice things up a little bit. May is like the perfect companion to Juliet and to go along with her on her adventure to Paris. I think May is a very unique character. When you meet May, the way that the show kind of works is like, we jump in and out of scenes, and a line that is introduced, when I first come out is, May is whoever May is, and that's really none of your business. So the audience just kind of is forced to accept that and like keep on going. And I think that's really it's really interesting because we get all types of audiences, and I know certainly there are some people who are like seeing a person like me for the first time, and so I think that writing is really special, especially just to people like me, to have their character like so normalized in a way. I think what else is really special about the character is I feel like in a lot of mainstream media, there's like a very common trope of like a gay best friend. And I think May gets the opportunity to, dig a little bit deeper in this story and take up a little bit more space, has more agency, and kind of goes on their own journey of self-discovery, as you heard in the song that I just sang. And I think that's really important. I think, as a queer person growing up, it would have meant a lot to me to have that kind of representation. So I don't take the honor lightly, and I'm very grateful that a character like May exists.
Well, you do an amazing job with this character, and can we all just take a moment to celebrate how historic this role is? I mean, we get to see the character May, non-binary, playing a lead role in this musical, and you get to be that person for us. So where did you draw some of your inspiration in portraying this role?
My life experiences. No, really. People ask me, I wanted to do theater. I was like the biggest theater nerd in the world, and I was so obsessed, and I would come to New York and I would save up all my money and see all the shows, and Broadway was my biggest dream, and people would always ask me like, well, what's your dream role? And I'd be like, well, it hasn't been written yet, but I trust that one day the perfect role will come along, and I truly believe that this is the one. This role was written for me. It was written in the stars, and so I think I just truly draw on my own lived experiences. Like everything I think that I experience in the story are real moments that have transpired in my life. So I get to bring a lot of like truth and authenticity to that, and so I think that's the coolest part, is that I'm in a lot of ways playing myself on stage, and the fact that so many people resonate with that it means a lot to me.
Love it, and it's such a joy to watch. Where art thou, Romeo? So spoiler alert, Romeo is in this show. And here he is. Here's Ben.
Hello.
So I had a little bit of a tricky time trying to figure out how to place a question for your character.
Yes, that's a tough one.
Yeah,
what you got?
What's your favorite color? No. Okay, so I'll keep this kind of open-ended. But
Okay.
Tell us a bit about what we can expect in your version of Romeo.
Let me see. This version of Romeo is kind of an extension of William Shakespeare. So he's, Shakespeare in the show. I'll talk about Shakespeare. That way I won't give away any spoilers. He's kind of, presented as this rock star dude guy who's basically like, I've got it all. I've got the career. I've got this, this fame, this respect from people. And so this character of Romeo in our version and Juliet is kind of, this extension of him and of, what he sees for himself, maybe what he sees from a younger version of himself. And this Romeo is maybe not the sharpest tool in the shed. He's had from the play, this is a character who's had everything handed to him, has this privilege, has this, background that he comes from where he wouldn't ever think, well, why would this be a problem that me and Juliet could be together? That wouldn't be a problem. That's not something that enters his mind. And I think in this version too, this Romeo, with all of that, does have the best intentions there and is just like, I love this person. I love them more than anything ever in my life. And so, yeah.
We went to school together.
We went to school together. Yeah, and I think, it's he gets to go through this journey in the show of really learning to embrace people and accept people for who they are and kind of look outside his own worldview. And that's kind of the journey that a lot of the men in the show get to go on and get to uplift these women and uplift these queer characters. And that's kind of, how I see it. And it's really funny. It has some of the funniest lines in the show. Yes. It's a fun role to play. So, it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Yeah. And so thanks for your amazing performance before of One More Try. So as the only song that Lorna and Ben, you performed that's not previously popularized by a mega artist, did you kind of try and take a different approach to performing this one versus the others in the show?
No, actually, because I think that with all the songs in the show, even though they are popular and they exist, we look at it from like an actor's perspective and really do a deep dive into, okay, what am I asking? What am I trying to tell? What are the questions that I'm actually saying and singing? So I don't really, I love Ariana Grande and Jessie J and, and I love Katy Perry, but I don't sound like them. I sound like me. And I think that's what's so great about this musical. We can be what makes us uniquely us. And that is okay. And that is more than enough. And that's what makes the show so special.
So eloquently said.
I think, too, something that's like a big gift of that song, too, is like, usually during the show, like if an audience member recognizes a song, it gets a laugh, and it's a great moment where everyone's like, "Oh, I see what they're gonna do there." This is kind of a gift of a song because no one knows it yet, and so it's that one moment in the show that we have where we're like, "I don't know where this is gonna go," and like I don't really know, we're asking for this one more try at this relationship and at this love that we had in the original story. And so it's kind of this like new moment, and the audience gets to experience it for the first time too, because they don't know the song.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun.
Awesome. And so these songs, these mega hits, are spanning decades, and they're bringing up such moments of nostalgia for those in the audience. Is there any song that stands out to you personally? Just open question for everyone. Does anybody have a favorite?
They're all so good. How do you choose?
It doesn't have to be one that you've performed either.
It's like the boy band. That one, I think that one gets the longest, like, screams. It's so hard. And then, see, I'm not in these ones. And then Teenage Dream, Break Free. When you hit the...
I think my favorite song in the show, and it's also one of my favorite moments in the show, is What Do You Want From Me? from Adam Lambert. I must confess, I didn't know all of the modern ones. Okay, you all have to forgive me.
Modern.
Well, I mean, the more modern, my pop music listening days are long, long ago. But I didn't know that song. And in terms of like a dramatic moment in the show and it's a real question that's being asked of each other. And it rips me to shreds every time because we sit there, we talk nonsense, but we also get to listen to that song in particular all the time.
Backstage.
And it's so well performed by Justin and Philippe. And it's also just, I don't know, a singular moment of quiet asking of a person. And if you've ever in your life asked somebody, what do you want from me? You know what a powerful, powerful question that could be. And in the show, it is used in exactly that way, for exactly that purpose. And it's just so powerful.
Yeah, the magic of
Why'd you just make it all quiet and Dr. Phil in here? Like, you just went like full, okay, great.
Yeah, well,
Good for you.
that's why I do, though. That's why you all bring me here.
I got chills. Oh, can I go?
yes, please go.
My favorite one is Problem Can't Feel My Face, because no one believed that those two songs could be smushed together, and I'm very proud of myself for having done that.
Well done.
And it's just dope. It's also, Jen, correct me if I'm wrong, Jen and I's best thing we ever did together was figuring out...
We did smash it.
We did smash that one. And it was just like, where's there a big dance break, and how do those songs fit together? They're totally different, and da-da-da. And I don't know, we figured that out.
And I think, that The Problem Can't Feel My Face, it really like sits as an Act 2 dream ballet. Yeah. And I think, there's this sort of like tradition in musical theater that you get to this place in Act 2 and you kind of go into this like fantasy space of your lead character. And to be able to create that in a hip hop vocabulary was just so dope. And it's the only kind of like really abstract number in the show. And it really sits like right at that place. And I love like playing with the form of the musical and getting to like put that into our language as well. And it's, those tracks are such bangers and it's like every time when I watch the cast do it, I really want to jump in and join them. Yeah. Absolutely.
But they always say if you can't, in a musical, is when you can't say it anymore, you sing. And when you can't sing it anymore, you dance.
Exactly.
And Jennifer, in the show, you're making incredible use of the set. So, for example, there's a large rotating turntable at some points. Do you align your choreography with the set design, or is there conversations happening in different ways?
Yeah, Sutra Gilmore, who's our set designer, is an absolute genius. And when you're working with something like a moving floor, you really have to put that into consideration. Yeah. And we were very, very lucky to have the moving floor in our first rehearsals in London, which is quite a luxury, so that we could play with it. Because, like any element, you can imagine how it's going to go, but that's quite different than actually trying it. And I think it's like just, it's just something you get used to, but like how you can use that to create energy and to create visuals and to create momentum and to create surprise, and how you calibrate that over the course of an evening is like a conversation between me and of course our brilliant director Luke Shepard and Sutra and everyone just working together. There's so much collaboration to make musical theater come to life. Like there's so many artists and so many voices, and if you're really lucky, everyone's on the same page and wants to tell the same story. And I think that's something that we were really able to accomplish because of the amazing people Luke brought together to make this show.
Awesome. Yeah, you definitely did. And let's pivot for a moment to some career path questions. So Melanie, I know you've already mentioned that this was your Broadway debut, but I understand a couple...
Let's talk about your career, Mel.
In 5 years.
So a couple other people in the show also had their Broadway debut. I understand. Show of hands. Yes. Huge congratulations, and I have a feeling the bar's been set real high with this show, so I don't know what you're thinking in the future. But so Betsy says yes. As a veteran in Broadway, Betsy, was there any particular advice that you tried to give to your colleagues who it was their first time on Broadway?
I look at Lorna because I feel like one of the first people I ever met. I mean, genuinely, for my final callback, we kind of knew they were just seeing one Juliet. I knew they were seeing one other Juliet, and then it was myself, and it was just us going in that last day for like a zooming with everyone for the final time, and I don't know. I just had this feeling. I mean, look, I do not know everything, but one of my favorite moments is actually. I shared a dressing room with these two goddesses in Toronto. We all shared one dressing room, and I now look back at that as like such a special time because we each have our own rooms now, and we all knew that was going to happen. But it's such an amazing, informative bonding time, and I would say between us three, I would say that there were a lot of life lessons and things that we know. And then just at the same token, I believe that I do not know what I do not know. And so I was just soaking up every bit of it. Yeah. And I think they're doing fine. I think the Broadway debuters are going to be doing just fine.
I think
they don't need even my wisdom. They're doing just fine.
That is very, very true. Yeah. So, did any of your career paths cross before Broadway? I heard you guys talking about Michigan.
Yeah. We
went
both
to school together.
We went to school, University of Michigan. Lorna was when I was a
junior. I was a
you were
freshman.
freshman. Yeah.
And you knew each other, or
Yeah.
Very cool. So Michigan's known for football and amazing
And musical theater.
Musical theater.
Yes. That's amazing. So had you performed together in a number of?
No.
We ever performed together?
We never
no.
performed together.
The first time I ever saw Lorna perform was at your showcase because you graduated a year early, right?
In 2019.
Yep. And I hadn't seen you perform, and she got up and you sang Almost There from...
I did.
Yeah. And I was like... What? I was like, who is this? She's so good. She's so good. And then like literally it was, I don't know how many years later.
Well, the pandemic, we don't count,
Yeah. We had heard that we were going to be playing Romeo and Juliet, and we called each other, and I was like, this is crazy. Like, who would have thought? Insane. Yeah.
I got one.
Yes.
What?
Just wait. When Mel and I first met in the Manchester, where we were, London, like what seems like 1,000 years ago, she found out that I work at Sesame Street from time to time as well, and told me that she was the biggest fan of Sesame Street ever. And then I didn't believe her, and then she kept on posting things of her like books that she bought of Cookie Monster and stuff like that. And I was like, all right, cool. So anyway, so she gets to New York, and then we put her on Sesame Street. And so that was another time where our paths collided. That was pretty good. And if I don't put Betsy on Sesame Street, I'm going to get in a lot of trouble. So I just wanted to put that out there, too. Moving on.
Well, before we move on, I mean, you don't just work here and there. You've been doing this for like 10 plus years, right? Thousands of songs, yeah?
Oh, me? Oh, yeah. Yes. I've been, sorry. I've been working at Sesame Street for 15 years. Prior to that, I didn't have a job that was more than like 15 days. So that was pretty cool. And I've written some songs, and my kids used to think I was cool, and now they're not that into me, and so that's that.
That's just how it goes.
By the way, that's how it goes. For those, yeah.
Oh, all
Good
right.
luck, Bets.
It'll change.
I think you're cool, Bill.
Thank you. Thanks.
So we're gonna open up the floor to some audience Q&A in a moment. So if you have any questions that you'd like to ask to anybody in the cast, live and in person, please come up to one of the mics in the aisles. And before you have one, yes. Before we do that, what do you hope that people take away from this show?
Good. Praise.
Look, we've been through it. Mm-hmm. We've all been through it. And, you know, I know some people are back in the offices and some people are not back in the offices and, you know, some people are remote and we've been through it. Things have changed. Our lives have changed so drastically in a way that we could never imagine that it could change. And sometimes it's okay to just have a little joy. And I think that's, for the most part, yes, we have very touching moments in the show. We have moments of angst and we have moments of conflict and we resolve those beautifully, not neatly, because this isn't a show that ties itself up in a bow, which I'm so proud of. But we resolve it in a very human, real-life way. But also, we are a joyous, joyous show that is full to the brim and overflowing with love. And sometimes that's all you need is to just go somewhere, sit down, have a dance, have a sing, and just have a laugh. Yes. And that is what, for the most part, I want people to take from this show.
Oh, amazing. Thank you for that. All right, let's kick off with an audience question.
Hey, thanks for being here, everybody. Max Martin has the most #1 hits, second only to the Beatles. So credit where credit is due. Bill, you had a hell of a time, I'm sure, picking the songs that needed to go in. What was left on the cutting room floor that you wish was in? And for the rest of the cast, do you have any favorites that you wish were in?
Like so many. There's so... The one that comes to mind is there originally in Act 2, there was a song between Romeo and Shakespeare, and it was called I Don't Believe You. And it's like a B-side Pink tune. Check that one out, people. And it's beautiful. And Max will admit that it's the best song he thinks that he's ever written, which is pretty cool. But yeah, that's the one that it made no sense in the show, but it was beautiful. and then it later became like that moment became One More Try, because the funny part about that song is we asked Max to write a song for the show for like 6 years, and he was like, yeah, and never did it. And then he finally showed up one day, and he played it for us at the piano. And the funny thing is he doesn't write duets ever, or like particularly between a man and a woman. And so like we had to figure out how to make that into something that the two of them could sing. And so that was a whole to-do. But anyway, the point of that story is I Don't Believe You. That song.
That's it. Yeah.
So cool.
Awesome, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, let's take another audience question.
Thank you all so much for being here. I saw the show a few months ago and I absolutely love it. So it's been amazing to see you all here again. So here at Google, we really love to talk about work-life balance. And obviously, I know that, 8 shows a week is very demanding and a lot of you do things outside of that. I mean, you're here, you do other shows and concerts. And so just asking you all, what do you do to keep yourself sane and to
You do all the stuff, Beth.
You do all the things. It should be you.
I was like, why is everyone pointing to me? Well, I am the only parent now in the show. We used to have Stark Sands was in the show, and he also was a father. But now I am technically the only parent. So I'm the only one that's actually responsible for another human being, maybe, perhaps. I don't know. I have a 3-year-old at home. It's a great question that I can honestly say I don't know if I will ever perfect a work-life balance, but every single day I try and be present. I have a business. I have a daughter who I obviously, am very much a primary caregiver for. And every day I strive to make sure that she is, taken care of. She's loved. She's getting what she needs. I'm filling up the well enough for myself, for the organization I run, and make sure that there's enough in my tank to still be able to do what I love to do. And part of my ability to be able to do this show at night is by making sure that I invest in my family and my life and all the things that make me happy. And so that balance, as you say, some days, you get a little bit more of one, but life will always check you quickly if you're not balanced in those ways. And I think you can, there's not too much that I think that you can put on a plate without like all of a sudden those plates are going to fall and you're like, okay, cool. So that's my limit. Cool, cool, cool. But I'm always a boundary pusher. I always like to like see how much can I do. And that excites me. I don't know. I think that's like, I'm always tired, but I'm always like so full of joy and also so like happy with being that busy. So yeah. Just a little bit of everything.
Amazing. I love what you said, invest in your life and the things that make you happy. That's words we all need, I think, to hear. All right, thank you. Let's take another audience question.
Hi, thank you. Huge fan of the show. I was there on opening night and I've seen it again.
Hey.
It's great. I recommend it to everybody. I had a question about whether any of the pop stars that made these songs famous have visited the show. And if so, which one has been like the one that you've been the most nervous or excited to perform for?
Oh my gosh, they told me Katy Perry was there right before I had to sing Roar. And I'm pretty sure I said, and then said the words. And then she did like a ninja roll onto stage after the show. And I was just like, you are here. Thank you. And I heard she gave a standing ovation. I don't ever look. I can't look. But yeah, that's just so inspiring. And like, wow, we get to be in a show where the people that sing the songs come to see the show. That's an honor. It's like, it's something that I cherish, and I will always remember this and remember all of you.
Thank you. All right, I think we have time for a couple more questions.
Thank you for being here. This is so exciting. I saw the show 2 weeks ago, and I've been listening to the music on repeat since then, so this is so cool.
Yeah.
But my question is actually kind of similar to the previous question. I'm curious if the original singers of the music that you all sang have been involved or were involved in the creation. I don't know if that's even possible, but just curious if there was any interaction in that way.
Not in the certainly not in like recording the albums or in the, I don't know about the creation of it. I know not in the room, in the rehearsal room, no. But I have to tell you something. There is something that is so incredible when you're in your 40s and you're in a recording booth trying to sing some Britney Spears with Max Martin on the other side of the mirror. I couldn't believe my Trinidadian luck. I was just like, this cannot be happening. It is so out of body. Did you all experience that when we were doing the cast album?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so weird, isn't
Max
it?
Martin literally said to me, he's like, I haven't been in the studio with this song, That's the Way It Is, since Celine Dion. And I just was like, I think that's when it like sunk in. I was like, my gosh, what am I doing?
He also said the best thing about you all, which was usually when Max Martin goes into the studio to make a song, he has to teach it to the person singing it because he writes it, and then Celine Dion walks in and goes, "Listen, Celine, here's how it goes." But with this crew, they knew the music in their veins and in their blood and in their hearts and souls before they walked in the studio. So they would come in and sing, and he would just sort of be like, and he'd look at me and go, "That's it?" I go, "That's fucking it. Like, that's it. We did it. Like, they know it. It's awesome." And he was like, "Awesome." Like, this is a total new concept to him that, like, people could learn the music before singing it. And so kudos to all of you.
And even though the artists haven't been super involved in the creative process, Max Martin has been very involved in the creative process. And, he sat through auditions and tech and all the parts of theater. He just like fell in love with the process of making theater. And he's been such a big part of the team, which is just like so wild. And
he's like a little kid in a candy store during rehearsals. You couldn't get him out of the room. He was probably one of the creatives that was honestly there the most. I mean, I loved how much, this is a man who's recorded with every major artist, and yet here he is with his musical, and he's just like, he's just like loving every bit of it. He was just there the other night. You guys were all there. It was really cool.
Amazing. All right, I think we have time for one more question.
So my brother is an actor, and he wants me to be more humanized. So he took me to a lot of Broadway shows, including this one. And I have to say, I laughed so hard that my stomach hurt for like the whole night.
See, Debbie the Doubter at
So thank you
first.
for
We
that.
got you.
And he's also queer, so I really love the show for that reason too. But quick question. So what is any expansion plan, any dream locations outside New York that you were thinking about?
We were just talking about that.
I was like, when are we doing the Italian tour? When do we go to Venice with this, you guys?
And it's because we have an Australian company of Juliet, and they've just landed in Singapore, and we're so jealous. I mean,
so jealous.
We're on Broadway, but we're so jealous because they're like posting all these pictures. They're doing all this stuff, and we're like, okay, where are we going? So I don't know where you all going next.
I mean, I'm not going anywhere. There's a UK tour. There's a national tour that starts in Baltimore. Duh. And there's what's after that?
Maldives.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Germany.
just say it.
There's a tour in Germany
Japan.
and Japan and the rest of Australia. And anyone wants to come with me.
All right, yeah. Please let us know.
I'll
It's
join.
all
Done.
posted. We love this. Okay, thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks for having us.
We're so happy to have you here. So, Angelique, everyone, you can catch Angelique right now at the Stephen Sondheim Theater. Go see it. For tickets, visit the website, andjulietbroadway.com. Thanks again.
Thank you.